Other countries have it the other way around, but we.
Well, we can see the newlyweds are now seated at this special vehicle, the royal carriage. Dr. Razan, this is a different kind of carriage again?
It is indeed. Usually what happens is that the royal couple will be sitting on top of the seats at the back. So I don't have the program for this. I'm not sure whether they're going to change seats, but generally they should be seated. The previous vehicles that we saw for the Crown Prince obviously was a different kind of car.
Correct.
So this is a different kind of car. I can't see the make of it. Then, if we could see that, then probably we'll know what kind of car this is.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure as well for today's royal procession, thousands have been just converging to get a glimpse of the newlyweds for the very first time.
His Royal Highness Prince Abdul Martin, smartly dressed in his military dress, of course.
Of course.
Of course, Yang Amat Mulia Pengira Anak Isteri Anisha Rosnah, beautiful in white.
Absolutely.
That song is resonating in my head now.
You can still recall the song, of course. I think that's our first thought upon a glimpse of her as well. Very, very beautiful.
And the arrival of their majesties, His Majesty Sultan Haji Hassan Al-Bolkiah Mu'izzatin wa Jallah, Ibni Al-Marhum Sultan Haji Umar Ali Saifuddin Sa'adu Hariwaddin, Sultan Yang di-Pertuan of Brunei Darussalam, together with Her Majesty Duli Raja Isteri Pengira Anak Hajah Salihah binti Almarhum Pengiran Pemanja Pengira Anak Haji Muhammad Alam. They are being welcomed by the Grand Chamberlain Yang Amat Mulia Pengiran Pengkawal Laila Pentara Istiadat Diraja dalam Istana Pengiran Haji Alauddin. Now, Their Majesties will be joining the procession in this time around, together with other members of the royal family. You can see His Royal Highness Prince Haji Al Muqtadi Billah, the Crown Prince and Senior Minister, the Prime Minister's Office, and Her Royal Highness Pengiran Anak Isteri Pengiran Anak Sarah binti Pengiran Saleh Abrahaman.
Yes, and the newlyweds are preceded by two hulubalang. One hulubalang diraja carrying the mamuras and karga, that is the rifle and bullet case, while hulubalang asgar carrying the kalasa and kampilan, that is the shield and the long sword.
Now, Dr. Razan, this is going to be a long delegation in the procession. Was it quite similar to the previous ones?
Yes, if you look at videos, even if you look at the videos of His Majesty's own wedding back in 1965, if I'm not mistaken, you can see the cars are just as equally long as what we will be seeing today. So this has always been the norm for the royal couple, for the royal newlywed couple, to be followed by members of the royal household. So this is similar with all the other events which have happened in the past.
Yes, and also, Dr. Raza, I'm pretty sure as well that the royal procession is a tradition that has been long preserved. So I would also like to know, in the royal procession itself, what does it actually signify? Does it have anything to do with MIB or any of that sort?
It's always been there. I mean, remember that we've only had landed vehicles from the beginning of the 20th century. Before that, we didn't have it. So that means we have not had that many processions. But processions are actually not in the sense that it is not automatic. It is not. When you have a royal wedding, you have a procession. It's actually it depends on what was decided at that point in time. So we can look at it from even from the wedding of the sons and daughters of His Majesty. I think we had the Crown Prince and His Royal Highness Princess Rashida and Princess Majida, but we didn't have it for the others. So this is sort of a return back to tradition. So like I said, it is not a must that you have it, but when you have it, then it's going to be like this. So very, very much depends. So when you have it, then of course everybody will just
correct. It's not like you have it every time. So it's a very rare occurrence.
It is in some sense. I mean, over the recent years, it has been very rare in this.
Very promising today.
Of course. Very sunny, but also very, very promising. And I think I would also like to share once again that the royal procession is about 9.2 kilometers long and should take about an hour and 46 minutes.
Looking at that, just a while ago, just drove past is another royal regalia, the Changka, brought by the Paten Damong as the head of the royal parade. This regal implement resembles a double-edged spear Also, there's Fort Dian Bunga.
Yes, for Dian Bunga Dian Tunggal, which is a candle that precedes the arrival of the royal family at a ceremony, whether it is held in the day or at night as well. And the candle is always lit and it's carried by Awang Awang for men and also for Dayang Dayang.
Little ways for everyone here at the palace. From the newlyweds themselves. You know, His Royal Highness Prince Abdul Mateen, as we all know, is very active in sports, very active in military, Dr. Ruzan.
Yes.
I guess he's a really achieved young royal.
Oh, he's like the modern face of the royal family, if you can look at it that way. I mean, not saying that, you know, it is the TikTok and so on.
Correct.
So he's
Social media.
Yes, the social medias. Yes. So you can see that, and he's got a very large following. I think it's about which I think numbers in a million. I think.
Correct.
Reaching millions.
Yes.
Well, the union of these two souls sees the compatibility of this royal couple in every aspect, be in the arts, be in sports. They do sports together.
Oh, yes, of course.
Bringing them together to a new beginning as king and queen of the day.
We are celebrating them today, the royal newlywed couple. And as we can see at the moment,
The motorcade paving the way for the royal procession.
and all the school students waving, also trying to enliven the spirit of the royal wedding ceremony today.
Now, the Grand Chamberlain is also part of this procession. He's also being escorted by the motorcades behind the motorcades, of course, of the Royal Brunei Police Force.
Wow, they're standing up now. Probably can give a better look for all the
Of
Bruneians trying
course, right at the entrance of the palace, Istana Nur Iman, heading down to this jalan. This street is the Jalan Raja Istri, Anak Saleha.
Yes.
Previously, Dr. Rozan, this street was known as...
This street was part of the long street which stretches all the way from the big the big clock that we have there, all the way up to Tutong. It used to be called Jalan Tutong, but now Jalan Tutong starts at the end of this road, which is at Telanai. So this road has been renamed in honor of Her Majesty Jalan Raja Istri Perarakan Anak Saleha now.
Look at, amazing. I mean, look at the students now. They're actually carrying beautiful balloons, Hadra team.
We have the Hadra
That's-
team.
yeah.
I think we'd also been informed, they're waving now.
Yes.
We'd also been informed over 40,000 school students joining in the royal procession.
That's a lot
today.
of people on the street.
Big number.
In fact, that those balloons, I would consider that a change from tradition because I don't think we saw that before. So
Previously, I
balloons-
think we have the waving flag.
That's right. Yeah. So now this balloons, so it's more a joy. It looks a very joyful occasion now.
Very colorful.
Yes, very, very colorful, a joyful occasion
Yes.
for everybody to celebrate. We can also see they're very, very radiant with
Yes.
love.
If you realize one hand's on the camera and one hand's waving.
That is how it is in 2024.
I think this is the trend. With the balloon, I don't know how they hold the balloon out. Balloon
need
and the
three
phone at the
hands
same time. This is, of course, the Awang Awang carrying the snippet.
Yes.
You can see all the. Oh my God! Look at the number of cameras.
For the Awang Awang carrying the snippet, this type of spear and a type of shield. And let's talk a little bit more about His Royal Highness. Now, His Royal Highness Prince Abdul Mateen, he was born on the 10th of August, 1991. He's the 10th child and the 4th prince of His Majesty. His Royal Highness is well educated, he's refined, and of course he has the characteristics of prince, boasting impressive achievements not only in the academic field, but also in the aspects of his career and sport. His Royal Highness exhibits caliber and charisma, becoming the pride of his parents.
His Royal Highness also received his primary education at St. Andrew's School in Brunei Darussalam and continuing his secondary education at the Paduka Sri Begawan Sultan Science College and later at Jurong International School where he received multiple accolades. So since he was a child, His Royal Highness often accompanied His Majesty Sultan Haji Hassanal Bolkiah Muizzuddin Wad Dawla Ibni almarhum Sultan Haji Omar Ali Saifuddin, Sa'adu Khairuddin Sultan and Yang di-Pertuan of Brunei Darussalam, and other members of the royal family to the Majlis Junjung Ziarah in conjunction with Hari Raya Aidilfitri celebrations at Istana Nurul Iman. So I think from this, this very, very clearly reflects the warmth and sense of responsibility within His Royal Highness to honor the people with utmost courtesy in celebrating the occasion with them.
Yeah, lately, if you realize, Dr. Rosanna and Nadira, that His Royal Highness Prince Abdul Mateen has been following His Majesty to a lot of trips overseas, working trips, state visits, and meetings. What do you have to say for this, Dr. Rosanna?
He's been accompanying his father on many of these trips. It's like excuse me.
No worries.
Yes, and I can see the royal newlywed couple waving to the students.
Getting a glimpse of the newlyweds for the first time after the Bersanding event. Yes, Dr. Rosanna.
Yeah, sorry. He's been, of course, obviously, he's been accompanying his father to attend many events, international meetings, and so on. He's also represented Brunei and on a couple of occasions, if I remember correctly. He's been in that sense.
Excuse me. No worries.
No worries. We can see in the screen right now still the many students joining and
Again,
with their umbrellas still. I'm pretty sure that means the weather is very, very sunny.
Okay. One of the things that we realized when His Royal Highness is accompanying, if you look at what the country is doing now, especially in terms of achieving Maqasid Sharia, one of the objectives of the religion, the Maqasid Sharia, is that the preservation of life. The preservation of life takes many forms. One of them actually is, having a military to save the lives of the people and so on. But one of the more subtler ways of preserving life is actually doing diplomatic relationship. So by being at peace with other countries.
Suri Begawan, Religious Teachers University College, or the Kupu SB?
So everyone has been talking about the attire. Dr. Rosanna, the traditional attire worn by the royal family members and guests may have distinctive features such as the colors, the designs, the category or status of each people who wear them. Does these variations of designs or ownership have any purpose or story behind them?
Vehicle with a flag, which is about 2 cars behind, and all the others, and that'll be interesting also to see the sequence of who are in the vehicles.
Chance for the audience and also for the crowd, especially Bruneians, members of the nations, and also tourists coming from there. The excitement from the crowd, I think, because they've been very eagerly anticipating this.
We're talking about being heart of the capital. You can see that the crowd is not just on ground zero, but they also on buildings.
That's right. Yes.
That's why they're looking above and giving a wave as well.
This has shown unwavering commitment and consistent enthusiasm towards the sport of polo, seen through his participation in a match with His Majesty Sultan Haji Bolkiah Dayang Ibni almarhum Sultan Haji Omar Ali Saifuddin Sa'adu Khairuddin. We could hear the cheers, the excitement from the crowd. I think because they've been very eagerly anticipating this.
We're talking about being heart of the capital. You can see that the crowd is not just on ground zero, but they're also on buildings.
That's right. Yes.
That's why they're looking above and giving a wave as well.
Yeah.
Now, His Royal Highness has also taken part in competition, not just locally in Brunei, but also overseas. He represented Brunei in the 29th Southeast Asian Games, the SEA Games 2017 in Kuala Lumpur. We're just crossing now over to Jalan MacArthur.
MacArthur, yes.
And this is the place where the
Brunei Energy Hub Dermaga Diraja is. So the Brunei Energy Hub Dermaga is located seen in Brunei Darussalam. It was just newly launched, Frankie, and also not very long ago. And I think it is one of the attractions for the tourists as well, because when they visit the museum, it is not just them looking, but also interacting
and learning.
and learning with what is displayed in the museum.
In one of the galleries downstairs, they will change from time to time. I I guess recently they had this exhibition on kebaya attire as well.
Yes.
From various countries in ASEAN. Now, His Royal Highness is definitely a prince of the heart of gold. His Royal Highness is also active in charitable endeavors, notably through his involvement in charity sports in support of those in need.
And His Royal Highness' involvement during these events is a reflection of his dedication to lighten the burden of those who are less privileged. Also, I think during his time in the military, His Royal Highness developed a very deep affection for boxing.
Well, I mean, in the old days, I mean, that was the easiest place to be on, simply because you could get your food by catching the fish and so on, and there's a lot of
Very
transportation.
convenient.
That's very convenient. But as I think, starting from the first British resident in 1906, there was this move trying to get people to be on land. So now there are less and less. I mean, as during his height, it probably houses like 30 to 40,000 people. On His Majesty is present as the guest of honor.
For instance, the ICC and the International Convention Centre.
So you'll see the Hadraharat at the entrance to welcome him. Obviously, there you can see them.
Yes, usually used by men. And at the moment, we are still at the capital city of Bandar Seri Begawan.
And this, of course, is the special park that we will always remember.
Barge, which was used by Sultan Bolkiah, Brunei's fifth sultan. So this is what the barge would look like. That was the idea. And at one stage, we used to hold staircases, next to the lagoon and so on, watching the readers. So, but we stopped.
Very interesting. But back in the days, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So we built good protection in some sense. So you hold it against them. You throw this bunga rampai and so on. So that becomes. There's quite a number of other things as well, which goes along with that, which is probably they do it, which is.
So that's why, as in like the donations that are given, it's for their funds for the entire 40 days. Well, we don't. We don't practice that anymore.
We don't practice the 40 days, but the tradition remains. Because the tale behind it, I mean, I'm not talking about this royal wedding now. The tale behind that is that
he's extremely supportive and he's so kind. He's a really kind person to everyone he meets. When he speaks to you, you have his attention, and I really think that's an important quality today. I really agree to that statement that it is important that you must have a full attention when someone actually speaks to you, and I think that's one good thing about His Royal Highness.
That's right.
Not just an important quality, but that is actually a soft skill that people often overlook. So not just, he has the physical skills of like being very, very, doing polo and doing the different sports.